Hello. This video covers your review of questions 16 through 21 and focuses on the zero product property. In order to use the zero product property, we first have to have our quadratic in factored form. Sometimes it'll be factored for you already, other times you're going to have to do the factoring. For question 16, this is an example of one where you have to factor it first. So when factoring a quadratic, the first thing that you should look at is the constant and think, what two numbers can I multiply together to get 5? Well, since 5 is a prime number, our choices are 1 and 5. You should then look at the middle term sign to figure out whether it's positive or negative. Since there's a negative there and the constant is positive, we would have to have two negatives, because when I multiply negative 5 times negative 1, that would give me my positive 5. So now I can go ahead and factor it. This would be x minus 1 and x minus 5. Now to use the zero product property, we take each of these and set them equal to 0. So I'm going to take x minus 1 equal to 0 and x minus 5 equal to 0. And then you solve them individually. To get rid of minus 1, I have to add 1 to both sides, and I see x is equal to 1. To get rid of minus 5, I have to add 5 to both sides, and I see that x is equal to 5. So then I would write this, x equals 1 comma 5, and put it in my brackets. If I was graphing this quadratic, it would cross the x-axis at 1 and 5. Question 17 is also one that I have to go ahead and factor. So what can we do? What two numbers can we multiply together to get negative 18? But will combine to give me a positive 3. So I know that they're going to have different signs, and since the middle term is positive, the bigger number has to be positive. So my choices for 18 are 1 and 18, with one of them being negative. So negative 1, 18. Negative 2, 9, negative 3, 6, and that's it for your choices. So which one of these will combine together to give me a positive 3? Negative 1 plus 18, it would be 17. Negative 2 plus 9 would be 7. And negative 3 plus 6 would give me my positive 3. So that's going to be my factors. So I'm going to have x minus 3, x plus 6. I'm going to set these each equal to 0. And then we're going to solve them. To get rid of minus 3, I have to add 3. So x equals 3. And to get rid of plus 6, we're going to subtract 6. And have x equals negative 6. I would write this, x equals negative 6 comma 3. You'll see I put negative 6 first. This isn't necessarily a requirement. It's just typical form to put the smallest number on the left, and so negative 6 is smaller than 3, so I've listed it first. Question 18. What two numbers can we multiply together to get 8? Our option, and since both of the signs for 6 and 8 are positive, they're both going to be positive numbers, so my choices are 1 and 8. And 2 and 4. 2 and 4 will give me the 6 when I add them together. So those are going to be my options. So I'm going to have x plus 2, x plus 4. Now I can set each of them equal to 0 using that zero product property. To get rid of plus 2, I subtract 2. To get rid of plus 4, I'm going to minus 4. X equals 0 minus 2 is negative 2. And over here, x equals 0 minus 4 is negative 4. So I'm going to write this, x equals negative 4, comma, negative 2. Here's an example where we don't have to factor first. It's already in its factored form. So we're just going to set both of these equal to 0. So on the left, I have to get rid of minus 3 first by adding 3. So I end up with 2x equals 0 plus 3 is 3. And then to get rid of that 2, I have to divide. So I get x equals 3/2. Just leave it in the fraction form. On the right, I need to get rid of -6, so I'm going to add 6. 0 plus 6 is 6, and then I can divide by 5. X will equal 6/5. So I would write x equals 3/2 and 6/5. Actually, hold on. Nope, that was not my eraser. I apologize. 6/5 is actually smaller than 3/2, so I'm going to actually list it first. And those would be your 2 answers. Same thing here. We're going to set our factors equal to 0. I need to get rid of +4 by subtracting 4. 7x equals -4. We're going to divide by 7. So x equals -4/7. Over here, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. That gives me -1. And then I'm going to divide by 3. X equals -1/3. Alright, then I'm going to write them down here. X equals -4/7, comma, -1/3. This is the last question about the zero product property. And we'll see that this time these are exactly the same, so I really only need to solve it once. 2x minus 3 equals 0. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. 2x equals 3. And then I can divide by 2, and I get 3/2. And this is my only solution. So what that would mean is that your vertex would actually be on the x-axis at 3/2.